Learners can connect with their peers and social learning platforms.
What do organizations gain to get out of investing in a culture of learning?
Culture of learning is crucial. Foster innovation, engage employees, develop talent, and adapt to the changing needs of the business environment.
Hello and welcome to Wizards of Learning, a chat show where we put L&D well beyond the boundaries of learning and development. I am Dabas, a faculty in residence at Harappa, which is India's foremost online learning platform. And let me tell you that even though businesses and professionals alike may be more focused on earning, every organization needs effective learning to future-proof itself, boost business performance, empower employees, and yes, even prevent churning. So every episode, we are going to be turning the spotlight on L&D custodians at some of India's leading companies who are on top of the latest concepts and what's happening in the L&D space. The burning question remains that is it finally possible to close all those terrifying skill gaps? So if you are yearning to know how to do L&D well, sit back and relax. And let's begin and dive right into Wizards of Learning. Our guest today goes by the name Papiya. She is the manager for training and development and global leadership development at Ensono. So hello, Learning Wizard, and welcome to our show. Let's start by telling our audience a little about you and your journey. Over to you, Papiya.
Well, thanks, Chaya, for having me in this show, and looking forward to have a great discussion with you. So, starting with my journey and about myself, I like to call myself as enabler and a multiplier. I enable an individual in my organization to continuously connect with others and multiply their growth. I have around 13 years of experience in learning and development domain, and I'm currently working with Ensono, in which I design, develop, and deploy leadership development programs. I'm the global manager for all the leadership development programs. Ensono is a global organization, and we are working in the IT managed services domain and expertise in mainframe, managed hybrid cloud, and consulting.
Thank you so much, Papiya, for sharing that. And you know what I'm really amazed is that it's not only a global role that you're shaping, but you call yourself a multiplier. And I just simply love that. So right off the bat, Papiya, I wanted to know, what does L&D in the digital space mean for you?
One of the benefits I would like to double click on is learners can connect with their peers, subject matter expert, and mentors through online communities, discussion forums, and social learning platforms. It is not restricted to a region or a geography or a business area. It's now open, so people can reach out, and it also creates sense of belonging.
Absolutely. We were just talking about this a while ago. The fact that you have this access to information, might it be in any space, is actually the most valuable currency that you have today, especially in such a beautiful digitally connected world. So, of course, Papiya, I would really like to deep dive into how this is fostering a culture of belongingness as well. Before we come to that, what do organizations gain to get out of investing in a culture of learning?
It's must have to remain competitive, foster innovation, engage employees, develop talent, and adapt to the changing needs of the business environment. It's a VUCA world. It's like rapidly changing. We have to be very resilient with the change. And that is what investing in the learning culture brings to ensure that the organization is future ready.
I also like to just call it the woken up world, because I think we're not living in a space anymore where we can just ignore, for example, if any individual has any concerns. Of course, we're so consciously developing cultures and organizations that are diversity, equality, and belongingness focused. It'll be great to give a glimpse of what are the kind of changes you have been steering at, have been part of maybe in the last year or so, or a couple of years. Maybe the most significant ones, if you would like to share with us.
The one I feel the most meaningful is taking ownership. and access different avenues to share knowledge, experience, and expertise, which is being possible with our continuous learning efforts. So we are just not one of the kind of program, but we have created several avenues wherein subject matter experts can come share their knowledge, and they then also learn from each other is what we promote heavily in our organization.
Very interesting. And how do you enable this? So, of course, is it something that you
Mhm.
saw automatically happening at the organization, that there was a shift and employees started taking more ownership and were also more receptive to see what more can they learn and how can they improve both individually and also as a team player? Or
Mhm.
was it very tactful, I would say, injected moments of showing them what L&D can do for them? How has the journey been to actually bring Ensono to the space where it is now from an L&D standpoint?
L&D brings in that open culture, and that is what Ensono is, like having that open culture of learning and very open to the ideas. And people were very receptive and very much aligned with the idea of having some forums. We have like a global mentorship program where we pair mentees and mentors who then work for an year long duration and even beyond that time frame. So mentors help with their experience to get perspective on the challenges that the mentees are facing, and develop not only at the professional front but as well as on the personal front, making them a better professional is what we try to align with the mentorship program. Another program that we have is Amplify, wherein our internal subject matter experts share knowledge through calendarized training. So every month we have 5 to 6 sessions. We have a booming response for all those training sessions that people will just nominate themselves up, be there for the training sessions, and there will be huge discussions beyond, even beyond the training sessions.
I love that, especially the word amplify. I, it just fits the description of course, what you're trying to enable at Ensono really well. Like one, of course, I feel is giving chances to so many voices to be heard. That's one. And second, I think it's not being L&D is not being shoved down the throat. It's
Mhm.
you're showing the impact and you're noticing change as a consequence as opposed to forcing change. So Atomic Habits happens to be one of my most favorite books. James Clear speaks about becoming 1% better every day. So doing incremental changes as opposed to trying to take giant leaps, which can be overwhelming and also in many cases not really rewarding, as you might see, because you will get fatigued and you will eventually, it's like the sugar high will come crashing down. So I'm really glad that we're having this conversation. Now, I was really curious to know what's the
Mhm.
next big leap that Papiya personally is invested in, of course, as being the global L&D partner for Ensono. Of course, whatever you can disclose, and it will stay between you and me and our audience.
Mhm.
But we're really curious to know, like, what's the next big leap for you in the L&D space?
My team collaboratively working with the business is to have customized learning, and how we are enabling them is assessing each individual needs. So we have now with the technological advancements, we have the tools wherein we can gauge, understand what are the competency requirements, where are the gaps, and how can we ensure that there is a needle movement with personalized development plan, and we can also measure those needle movement. I think that has been a huge challenge for an organization to ensure and show the ROI on L&D programs, and that is where uh, we have been working in thoroughly, that how can we do and bring in those kind of measurement elements. So have those first, starting with the assessment of individual needs, then maybe going into the personalized learning plans. Third could be having those flexible learning formats, and I touched base earlier that it is not only having a very set curriculum, and now in L&D, um, with all those open source content available, we have so many avenues to learn from. what we are focusing right now, to have those collaborative learning opportunities and more customized learning format. It's just not like the run of the mill kind of thing or cookie cutter approach, but more and more personalized approach.
I love it. You're leaving no one behind, and I think even if you go back to the foundations of how learning started, I think it was always about making sure that everybody gets included. But I was getting very curious about the fact that you're focusing on customized learning for all. But I feel while I do applaud that as an Ensono initiative, I feel that might be limited to certain very trailblazing organizations. Now, if you speak about the space in general, what do you think is the next big innovation in the L&D space? I'm talking from a global standpoint. Like, for example, the wheel was sort of like this disruptive, completely transformational change for transport, right? When wheel was invented. So do you see any such really big innovation coming in this space?
So definitely one thing that I would like to call out is immersive technologies, artificial intelligence, virtual reality. I think that's a next big innovation in the field of learning and development. So having these technologies, we can simulate real life scenarios, provide hands-on training, and create those kind of fail-safe environment wherein people can take risk maybe. So one thing which we have seen in the organization, and we keep on talking about psychological safety. How can we create that, ensure that people are able to take the risk and take the scope to learn further while taking the risk. So with VR, AR, with this simulation, I feel that yes, we can create those kind of environment wherein people can take the risk and see how where it takes them, and creating more kind of understanding around the environment and that understanding of the systemic knowledge around them, having that big picture understanding. Like for example, if you are doing something on the organization management, we can give them an understanding of the entire organization. So suppose you are moving one lever, which could be your human resource, and then there could be another lever which is about your client, how those two levers impact each other. I think these could kind of exercises with these immersive technologies will be very, very helpful, and that is what I think I'm more interested to look into as we move forward.
We spoke a lot about good mentors, and you're on the way to becoming one as well as a group coach and leaders in the space as well. But at the same time, we're also speaking about the disruptors, right? And we really don't know what's going to happen in the next few years or decade to come. So I'm curious, do you think that the role of good mentors and leaders is going to change in the coming years? Will it still remain relevant, or is it going to evolve? So what's your take on that?
Well, like Chaya, you're mentioning, you already mentioned that change is evident, right? So change will always be there. However, one role that a mentor or a leader which will remain constant is of a catalyst who motivates others to
I love
excel.
that.
Yeah, so I think that role will be unchanged, will remain as it is, even with all the changes, and that is what mentors and the leaders are for. Um, with the advent of AI, I'm sure even the generic understanding of what could be a mentor can also change. However, it's just that the role, I think this is the role that will remain unchanged.
I love that. So of course, completely with you, that change is the only constant. And I love how you put it, that it's on us whether we are the recipient of the change or the catalyst of that change. And I think if we're all able to think with that mindset, I think we will have many more leaders and many more, I would say, enabling leaders very much like you. The last question, Papiya, before we move on to the rapid fire round, what's the one advice you would like to give to all those fellow enthusiasts and also new entrants into the space? What's your one advice you would give so that they stay consistent, they stay grounded, but they also stay curious? to
Mhm.
try to keep capitalizing the change as we just spoke about it? Your one big advice to them.
So, what I would like to call out is be agile and adaptable. So, we already discussed on this that the age that we are in is dynamic and it definitely requires agility and adaptability. So, embrace change as new technologies, methodologies, learning needs emerge. Um, be willing to experiment and take risks and iterate your approaches based on feedback and evolving needs of the organization. Develop a mindset which embraces change as an opportunity for growth and continuous improvement, not only for yourself but also for the learners that you are supporting. Be agile and adaptable is one big advice that I would like to give.
Okay, now we're going to be moving into the rapid fire round, Papiya. So I would
Mhm.
like you to, if required, change your stance, get a little agile, as you beautifully put. These are going to be quick questions, and I expect really crisp, quick, and frothy answers as much as you can make them. So let's get started. Okay, Papiya, first question. If you had a chance, what would you rename LND as?
Grow and connect.
Very nice. I love that. Okay, who is your idol or mentor in this space? Someone whose work really inspires you and motivates you.
Josh Burson. So he's a well-known industry analyst, researcher in this field, and I feel that he has been working quite extensively with his research and publications in L&D.
Well, do let us know if he would be willing to come on the next episode. Okay, next question. Top L&D trend of this year so far.
One is remote learning technologies to give more immersive experience, generative AI, data analytics. So I think these three remains in trend for this year.
Very interesting. And anything you would really hope that people discard, which is not boding well with you as a L&D trend that people are catching on to?
Over incentivizing learning. Another could be working in silos.
My next question was that if you had an all-power card, what would you change in L&D?
There should be a stronger collaboration between industry and academia to bridge gap between that theoretical learning and what is the practical applications.
Very interesting. Papiya, you've established that you're sort of this guru of learning and custodian of learning, absolutely. But if not this,
Mhm.
if not L&D, what would you be doing?
Well, uh, I I think I would be a librarian or a bookstore owner with
Oh, I love
lots
that.
of books all around, um, with a coffee to sip on and some light music. I think that's what I see myself to be.
Please do invite me to the inauguration day. I'm going to be coming with my steaming cup of coffee and a book. Okay, last two
Absolutely,
questions.
Chaya. Yeah, go
What
ahead.
would be your L&D superhero tagline if you were a superhero or a superwoman in the space of L&D?
So I think I'll go by the same tagline, which I call out as enabling learning to multiply growth. I think that is what I will go with.
Coming to the last question, Papiya, I'm really curious to know that in all this experience, and of course now that you're looking at global initiatives as well, what's one thing that the learning and development culture in India can learn from other cultures? Something which can actually improve ours as well and maybe accelerate the speed of how we see and understand L&D in this space, in this country. Sorry, over to you.
So I would say that holistic development. So some learning culture prioritize holistic development, focusing not only on academic knowledge, but also on personal, social, and emotional growth. And this approach recognizes the importance of that well-rounded individuals and consider factors which are not only related to those scores, assessments, but are beyond academic achievements. So, embracing holistic approach, I think, to learning can involve incorporating activities that will develop those social skills, emotional intelligence, creativity, which is again I feel that a very underrated skill, and all not only those but also physical well-being, which is very much related to our mental and emotional well-being. So I think with those holistic development we can bring all those kind of understanding.
Absolutely. I think there wouldn't have been a better way to conclude our conversation. Here's to wholesome experiences in the L&D space to each and every participant, may it be somebody on your end as a custodian, somebody as our end who loves to partner with organizations who are fostering L&D cultures within their framework, and of course to the learner out there who's always eager, always curious, and we really hope they remain so. Thank you so much, Papi. It's been delightful speaking with you. It's always such a beautiful learning experience to learn from learning custodians like you. And I can't thank you enough for your time and for all the knowledge that you bring to all our lives. Thank you so much for your time. Any last parting words for all of us?
Well, thanks, Chaya, for this time with you. It was really a very encouraging and engaging discussion that we could bring in today. And yes, I think you have summed it quite well. That being a custodian, we do have a huge responsibility. Uh, when we are partnering within our organization, outside our organizations, to ensure that we keep contributing towards the growth for the others. So I think that's a great point that you have bring in, and thanks for your time, and really enjoyed this conversation thoroughly. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Papya. Here's to many more. Thank you so much.